Good morning. Welcome back. Welcome back. How's everyone doing? Chest to the sun. Morning, morning, morning. Yeah. I was watching Doc's stream yesterday. That was a good one. Good morning, good morning. Hooked on fish. New subscriber. Thank you, brother. Appreciate that. Blessed. Another blessed day. That's right. It's always a blessed day. If we wake up, we get to do what we love. And if you don't get to do what you love, but at least you can work towards it, right? So either way, blessed. Good morning, good morning. Patience got me almost the biggest day of my trading yet yesterday. Wow. Congrats, chef. There we go. Hell yeah. Happy Friday. It's Friday then. All right. Wait a few minutes. Wait for some people to step in. Pull up the calendars. Get us prepared. We got some stuff today for sure. Some 8:30 action. Good morning, good morning. All right, so yesterday, you guys saw my video. Had a little bit of a losing day, but nothing that I wake up thinking about. Just took everything, took my losses on everything that I had. End of day was down around 1480, so about $1,500. I can make that back, right? That's all that matters. So kept those losses small. Good lesson yesterday. A little bit quick to the gun, a little bit quick to the trigger on the downside, but I'm okay with it. I'm content, right? We talked about in the stream, there's going to be that day where I try to short one of my supply levels and it just doesn't quite work. I think yesterday was that day. It was sort of that. Yesterday was sort of like that. It was like that day where you either continue to see that weakness or something sort of changes, right? It was sort of that day, that decision day. Post FOMC, is something going to change on the market? Is a little bit of strength going to step in, or are we going to continue to do the same thing of those supply rejections, right? So we'll see, right? Yesterday's gone. If you guys took losses yesterday, right? If you take, any losses on a particular day, new day. As long as you keep it in a manageable amount, it's a new day, right? Every day, short-term memory. So today, we step in. We focus on ending the week strong. Some very key levels on the SPY QQQ. As you guys can see from the title, the ES is at the 200 SMA, which is going to be very important, the 4340 level. The ES is sitting right at that 200 SMA today. Apple had earnings yesterday. We'll see how that follows through. So should be an interesting day. There is a channel that I'm a little bit concerned of, right? I'm a little bit concerned of a little bit of a channel trade today. There's this small channel on ES as well as Nasdaq, which I think we could just trade between. So that is a little bit of a concern for me. But we'll see, right? We'll pay attention to it. We'll watch the levels, and we'll do our best to trade the move that we're looking for. That's all we can ask for. That's all we can ask for. Do our best. Trade our levels. If we're incorrect, we're incorrect. If we're right, great. So, schedule. Let's pull up the economic calendar first. That's the first thing, as always. Here it is. What's our ad today? Covio AI, the remedy, accurate, secure, generative answering, built for digital enterprise experiences. I mean, could this be any more generic of an ad? I have no idea, not a clue what this means. I mean, an ad that you have not even any idea what this is. Oh, side effects, hallucinations. Give me some of that. All right, Friday, November 3rd, 8:30. You got Vice Chair Barr speaking at 8, which is, I guess, going on right now. Non-farm payrolls, 8:30. Unemployment rate, 8:30. Hourly wages, 8:30. So definitely some action here at 8:30. We'll see what the action is there. We'll see that live. We'll see that reaction. 9:45 PMI, so about 15 minutes in the market open. You got your PMI to be careful of. Some Fed president speaking for the rest of the day, right? Then you got Fed president speaking for the rest of the day. So the talking heads at 10 o'clock, 12:45, 3:30, and 3:30. So 8:30 should probably be the major event, right? The biggest catalyst of the day. And then you got tomorrow, or 15 minutes after open, you got the PMI numbers to keep an eye out for. Next week, I don't think they filled in this. I don't know if they filled in this calendar yet. I'd have to go to maybe a different calendar. But is market closed for Veterans Day? I don't think so. It should be. So shout out to the vets out there. If any of you guys watching are veterans, we thank you for your service. Thank you for allowing us the opportunity to do what we do, right? At the end of the day, that is due to the veterans. No, market's not closed on Veterans Day, but it is a holiday. All right, so that's that. 8:30, we'll see a little bit of a 8:30. 8:30, we'll see a little bit of action. We'll see if there's any action in the pre-market. Let's go to the economic calendar, or the earnings calendar. Here it is, earnings calendar. Pulling it up. 1 second. Here we go. Right here. So today, nothing much, right? Nothing too important on the earnings side. Nothing that I think is important for the market. Yesterday, it was really this Apple, this block, the Square. I'm actually interested. What did DraftKings do? I didn't even look at it. So DraftKings, Starbucks, Coinbase. We'll take a look at those, see what they did. I'm actually interested. Let's see here for a second. What did DraftKings do? Nothing really. A little bit of upside there. I love DraftKings, man. I love DraftKings. Starbucks. Oh, nice upside on Starbucks. Right into supply. Look at that. Right into supply. Look at that. 103. You guys can see this, right? Yeah. So Starbucks earnings, bam, right into that supply, 103. That's going to be an interesting watch there. Coinbase, what did Coinbase do? Right into supply rejection, yeah. So still stuck in this channel, Coinbase. This is the channel that Coinbase just always gets back into, man. Look at this. Look at this. Last 3-4 months, just channel. And has not been able to get out of it. So let's go to the schedule. Tesla. Important supply, right? Important supply. Tesla above a triple top. Tesla above a triple top. Very key hold today to be watching. 215, 214 area, holding above a previous triple top. I'm very much interested in this today. Gonna see if the market gives me that confirmation, if I could long, right? There's a certain level I want to see the market over to take longs, and Tesla would be one that I'm watching. So this is interesting today. NVIDIA, 440, still stuck below that supply. NVIDIA still stuck below a 440 key level. Now, one thing that I do want to point out, which I noticed yesterday, right? You had some decent moves on the overall market, but there were a lot of large cap tech stocks that really did not move yesterday. Microsoft, still under that 350 level we talked about yesterday. Amazon was still under that 140 supply we talked about yesterday. AMD really didn't make much of a move over that 111. NVIDIA under 440. Tesla was pretty sideways all day. Google rejected that 100 SMA. Meta got smacked off of that 320 level. So all those big cap tech stocks that we watch really did not move at all yesterday. Actually, some of them were down. So an interesting move yesterday, right? And yesterday morning, if you guys were watching the futures, there was some very clear divergence on the ES versus the Nasdaq in the early morning trading. We saw that ES pushing higher and that Nasdaq pulling back. Tech stocks, major tech names, were not very strong yesterday. Other individual names, such as some of those small caps, were strong. Roku was strong. Some of those small cap tech. And then also some of those ES names, some of the financials were strong. So it was a little bit of an interesting move yesterday. I don't know if you guys saw that. I think that's something I'll sort of point out here for you. But it was sort of difficult to read because of that, I think. But yeah, something to notice, right? Something to notice. So NVIDIA 440, AMD 105, interesting retest that I'm watching. Google 100 SMA, Meta 310, right? Important 310 level. Going to be watching that. Amazon 140, still stuck under that Amazon 140. And then Microsoft 350. Microsoft 350, big level to watch. Tesla, most of the move was in the pre-market, right? This is Tesla's intraday move. Right here. Tesla, right? This is sideways to me. Tesla did this, right? While the Nasdaq did this. All right, so it's a little bit of there's definitely a little bit of sideways, right, going on while other sectors sort of moved, right? Look at Meta. Bam. Meta. Nasdaq up, look at Meta, right? Interesting. Amazon. Look at Amazon. Nasdaq up, here's Amazon. Down, right? So interesting stuff. Interesting stuff, right? Apple, we'll take a look at Apple, guys. Of course we'll look at Apple. So let's get into the futures. Let's take a look at what happened yesterday. Let's take a look at what we're watching today. So yeah, it was a lot of Russell yesterday. I'll agree. I'll pull up the Russell today because that is important. The small caps were sort of that driving move yesterday. I would agree with that. All right, so Nasdaq, we moved into our 15K, right? We moved into our 15K, which is interesting. That's really that big level above. So here's your 4-hour chart, right? Here's your 4-hour chart. You have your 15K supply, which is where we're testing, right? This is going to be a big test up here. This 15K, 15,030. Going to be a very interesting level. I still want a more serious retest, right, to be comfortably long on this market. I still want either this pullback, right, maybe back into that 850, maybe back into this 780 area. I don't know if we're going to get this deep of a pullback, right, to create that inverse head and shoulder, right? I don't know if you're going to get that. But, right, just because I was wrong on the short side yesterday, just because I took some losses on the short side does not mean that, right, the incorrect thing for me as a trader today to walk into is to say, hey, you were wrong yesterday on the short side. That means you have to long today, right? That's not how I want to make sure my mindset does not switch up, right? I want to make sure I continue to stay open to both sides because yesterday I was open to both sides. I just ended up trading the wrong side, which is, it's going to happen, right? That's part of trading. So today, I'm not going to just say, hey, I'm going to only trade upside because I was wrong yesterday on the downside. No, right? I still know that this 15,000 zone should be pretty heavy on the market, right? That should be a pretty heavy level on the NASDAQ futures. Let me go ahead and get a little bit more time here on the hourly chart. I think this is a better place to view it, right? You guys can see right here, we have some pretty clear previous struggle at this zone, this 15,000, 15,030 zone. It's very, very obvious that we have, right, some rejections in this area. And we're starting to see just a tad bit of weakness up here, right? You're starting to see just a tad bit of, just sort of a rejection yesterday near close and then just an inability to get above this morning. So I'm interested in watching that, right? I'm a little bit cautious. To be long today, I'd really want us to be above that level. I think it's around that 15,030. It's some of these wick highs, and it's yesterday's highs, right? If we can get above yesterday's highs, hold above yesterday's highs, then yeah, I'll look for that long towards that 50 SMA, which is right up in this supply here, towards that 50 SMA, 15.1. But I don't know, right? I'm a little bit cautious here, especially after this straight up move, right? This is a straight up move, and just a little bit cautious of longing, right, into this triple top here. I'm not going to switch up the way I look at these levels, right? That's the last thing I want to do. So if I traded long yesterday and I had a really strong day, would I be looking to long into 15,000 today? No, right? Not really. I wouldn't be doing that. So I'm going to be very cautious today. It's a Friday, right? I don't want to be on the wrong side again. So I really want to pay attention to this 15,000 zone. If I go back, you can clearly see here, 15,000, 15,000, right? Right here, right? All right here. All these days, like 4 or 5 days, 15,000. And if I go out to the 4 hour, we can even see it further back. So let me go into this 4 hour chart here. If I throw this line across the screen around 15,000, right? Look at this line. If I draw this all the way back to May, to June, right? Look at 15,000 on this chart. 15,000, bam, right there. 15,000, bam, right there. Big level, right? 15,000, right there. Again, right? This goes all the way back to May of earlier this year. So 15, 15, 15, 15, and look at where you're trading. You are right there, right? This is going to be crucial stuff. So you are trading right at a level that has been reacting on the Nasdaq futures since May of this year. Right here, right? Let's keep going back. Right here, right? Look how important that is. So that's going to be a big watch today, right? We just have to watch that intraday price action. If it breaks, then we'll definitely have to be looking for the long side. But as of right now, right, all I can say right now, because I can't read the future, right? I don't know if this is going to break. At this exact point where we're trading, where we actually can see price action and not trying to guess what happens here, right? This is not a good long, right? That's not a good long. And I could be wrong, but this is not a good long as you are pushing right into that level with the price action that we can see right now. Without trying to guess, without trying to have a bias, right? Without trying to say, oh, I think it's going to break, right? Or I think it's going to reject. I'm not saying that, right? All I'm saying here is this is not a good long in terms of supply and demand because you are pushing into supply. You are closer to any major supply level than you are to an important demand, right? So that is something to be cautious of today, right? And I know maybe you think I sound biased, but it's really not biased. This is important supply that rejected yesterday, and you are just trading right under it today. So I just say that to have caution, right? To make sure I stay cautious myself and to understand, hey, maybe just be a little bit cautious on this Friday, longing into this 15,030 level. It's definitely an important level when we go out on the 4 hour chart. So if we get above it today, right, then I'll look for that long towards that 15.1. That'll be interesting to watch today. If you get a rejection of that, you can't. Here's the problem, right? If you do play shorts here, that's a little bit concerning as well because it's really just a short-term scalp if you are to take any shorts, right? You don't really have that much short side margin here until demand around this 20 SMA, right? So this is what I'm a little bit concerned about today is that the Nasdaq may just trade within this zone here, right? This might be your zone that we trade in, which is a decent size zone, right? Definitely some opportunity to trade in here, right? It's a pretty decent size zone. It's about 250 points, which is absolutely some movement to trade. But you have to be, I think, more important, you think it's a profit-taking day, right? So if you do get some kind of supply rejection, don't hold it past this demand down here, right? If we do get a demand, or if we get a quick drop to the downside, watch out for the demand to step up, maybe for a long down at that 20 SMA. That's where we held yesterday, around that 14,850, 14,900 area, right? So I want to look to see, does it hold again? I'm actually going to move this here so that I can make sure I know we're approaching that demand. So if we do get that downside move, right, then I'm going to be watching that 20 SMA again and seeing if that's a bounce, right? That could be very nice. If I short, right, then I need to be aware not to hold too long, too aggressive into demand, right? So this is the little channel that I'm going to be watching today. If I go out to the back to the 1 hour chart, this channel is pretty much between that 15,030 supply highs on the 4 hour, right? And then these previous highs right here, right? That's this zone. This zone right here is between these highs, which could hold as support, which they did already, right? And it's between the 4 hour major supply here, right? 15,030. And it's not just here in the short term. You go all the way back. Here's another test. All the way back, another test. Another major test here. So you can see how important that level is. So that's my little zone I'm watching today. We're going to have to do our best to make decisions within that zone, right? That's what we're going to have to do as traders. Between 15,030 and 14,850. 20 SMA demand below. That could be a nice hold level today. That would be really the best potential pullback long of the day. If you can get a pullback to that 14,850, these previous highs, this triple top high, if you can get that pullback, then I'd be more interested to see if it holds, right? Fib boys, where are you drawing the fib from today, Josh? From this low? The 38.2 is down. Wow, it's the exact level at that 14.8. The fib boys. If you draw it from the exact low, I mean, yeah, you still got some downside move if you're drawing the fib boys here from the downside, from the lows. But, yeah, I think this is really the major key today. I think this is a very clean plan. I feel confident with this plan today. I feel confident with the 850. These highs, and I feel confident with the 15,030. This is definitely where I'll be looking to trade through today. QQQ, very similar, right? Look at this. This is really that major, when I say on the title, the QQQ level to be watching today, it's 362. Larry, thank you, man. Larry, I appreciate that. PC issues this morning, listening to phone, not trying to bring it in. Larry, don't worry about it, man. If you don't, if you owe me money, then I don't. It's fine, dude. Keep your money. If it's fine. Don't worry about it. Whatever you're worried about, don't stress it. I'm not thinking about it. You don't have to worry about it. So today, QQQ, but I appreciate that 20, man. Appreciate the donation and always appreciate the support. So QQQ 362, guys, right here, right? We can see this. This is that Nasdaq high that we were just talking about, but look what the QQQ is doing. It's above it, right? See this? See how it's above these previous highs? See how it's holding above that this morning? This is interesting on the Qs. So this is sort of that major level that I want to be watching today. If we zoom out, we could see right here, QQQ 362, rejection, right there, holding 362 here. If we go over, look at right here, 362. Let's go back, right? 362. All right, I'm not making these levels up. So you can see here, look what this QQQ is doing. This QQQ is holding right above that 362 level. So for me today, right, I've made my plan. I will not short anything under 362 or above 362. If the Qs are above 362, I don't think you want to try to short, right? Because that is a very potential hold level, right? And if it holds above this high, if it holds above this low, if it holds above these lows here, if it holds above this high here, that this can absolutely continue higher, right? So this 362, I think, is the top watch of the day for me. I'm going to try to make my decisions based off of this 362 level. If we're above that level, if that demand is holding, I would not want to fight that to the downside. I would be interested to see if that holds and if there are long opportunities off of it. The supply above is right at the 50 SMA. It's right here. You're sitting right at the 50 SMA. That's where yesterday's move went into, right? So if we zoom in on the 5-minute chart, you guys can see right here, that's that 50 SMA, right? See this right here, that yellow line? That's the exact level that the QQQ went back into yesterday. That's 364 on the QQQ. So where do I think the channel is this morning? I think it's between 362 and 364, right? 362 and 364. That's where I would be watching. Can you be entirely honest with me? Do you think we're going to see anything red for QQQ? Man, I don't know. Guys, it's not... eventually, I think people will understand, right? I think eventually, people to the market will eventually get it. No one knows what's going to happen. You make a plan, right? What we're doing right now this morning is we're creating a plan, right? We are creating a game plan that we can make decisions off of. I am every morning creating a game plan, creating my levels so that I can do my best to manage and judge the intraday price action. I have zero idea what is going to happen on the market. And anyone in the world that tells you they know what's going to happen is full of shit. Okay? They can watch their levels, right? We can get an idea intraday of what's going to happen. We can create edges intraday, right? I can create an edge intraday on a short at the 50 SMA on the QQQ, right? We wouldn't walk away from we wouldn't come into Monday and say, "Hey, QQQ rejection of 50 SMA." That's something we can understand, right? We can know that could happen, right? I could definitely play that idea. Or we could say, hey, we can come into Monday and say, hey, look at this. 362 in the Qs, that demand held so nicely, right? And that was a really nice long opportunity, right? We can create those edges by our analysis, right? But, right, we don't know exactly what will happen. All right, so 362 to 364, I think that is your channel on the Qs today, guys, right? Look at this, 362, 364. I really think that's your channel to watch here today. If we can get a break of either side, then maybe there's continuation, right? But we're going to have to be patient, right? We're going to have to be patient within this 2-point range because as of right now, it's really not showing you much. But you can definitely see where the demand is, and you can definitely see where the supply is, 364. All right? ES. Look at this shit. Yeah, this should be interesting, right? Look at this. So, where do I want to show you guys this? Do I want to show it on the hourly? Let me see what it looks best on. I think I want to show it to you on the hourly. Yeah, I think the hourly is probably the cleanest. So, we got the thick boy, all right? He's back, and he's right above. He's right above, right here. I'm going to go full thickness, 5. So, look at that thing, right? That thing is right there. You better watch out for that thing. All right, so we got the 200 SMA. We got this low, this high, these lows, these highs, all right? This low right here, some of this consolidation here. We got some big levels here at 43.40. And we're sitting right at the 200 SMA. So, does the ES break this 200 SMA today? That is the big, big question of the day, right? Do we get stuck under 43.40 and the 200 SMA, or do we get above it? I think this is I just said the QQQ was the main watch, but this is again a major watch of the day, right? Look how clear this is. It is exactly at the exact same level, 43.40, supply 43.40, 200 SMA. This is your level of interest today on the market without a doubt. If the ES is able to break and hold above the 200, if we're able to see that upside continuation, right, above this level, if we see something like this, you hold above it, right, then absolutely you can look for that long, right, absolutely. If you have some struggle here, right? If you're starting to see struggle to get above this area and you're starting to struggle to get above the 200, then, right, you have to be cautious of longing into this level. There's no doubt about that. So in about 8 seconds, we're going to see what happens here. Maybe it moves over the 200 here on data. Let's see. Okay. Got your pop into the 200. Let's see what it does. Does it hold above or does it get sold into? This is very important here, right? This could sort of give us the game plan of the day just right here. So if this move can hold above the 200 on the ES, this is potentially very clean action, right? We could get a really nice break and hold over the 200. That could be very nice. And that could be a nice break and retest long. I hope it sets up cleanly for us, right? That's really all we ask for is a nice clean hold above 43.40. It looks like it's maintaining pretty well, right? Not really much wick there. So far, a pretty good move. Let's see where the where's the Nasdaq at? Is the Nasdaq over 15,030? If I can pull it up. Okay, so you're right there. 15,030. If that can hold above, that's good. Right, that should help us. Let's see what the numbers were. Non-farm payrolls, 99,000 versus 158. Oh, that's definitely bullish. Right, that's definitely bullish. Decrease in non-farm payrolls. That's sort of the perfect number right there for the market. Okay. Okay, I like that. Yeah, that's a good push. That's a legit push right there for now. All right, that's a legit push. I think you probably are going to see that 43.70 then. Right, that's your next level. 43.70, next level. So, what would be the trade of the day, man? What would be just the sexiest trade of the day today? It would be just a beautiful pullback to the 200 and a beautiful hold, right? A beautiful pullback here, a beautiful little hold, and a long off that. Man, that would be a heaven. That would be a dream trade today for a beautiful Friday. So let's see. If we get, I'm sure we'll get a pullback at some point on this explosion move, right? Nothing really just holds up like that. So if we do get a little bit of downside, keep an eye on this, right? See if you start to get a nice maintain above this 200. If you start to get a nice maintain, something like this, and then it starts to curl off the 200, that could be our trade of the day, right? Break and retest the previous day high, hold above the 200, hold above this previous supply level, curl off of it, long off of it, look for that 43.70. That would be nice. Is it a perfect world? We'll see, man. We'll see. Next level to watch above is that 43.70. All right, 43.70 above. Keep an eye on that. And let's just go quick over the Nasdaq again. Okay, so 15,001. I would say 15,140. Yep. And then that 50 SMA above. All right. So that's your new areas here. 15,030, 15,140, 50 SMA there. Right. ES, you got your 43.70, 43.40, and then SPY, let's go over that, and then we'll see if we can get 1,000 likes on the stream, but we'll see if, we'll see what happens. Get them out. I can't stand people, man. The larger we grow, the worse it gets. I'm not even going to get into it. Let's continue. The show goes on. All right. So 432, right? 432. 432, 432, 432 on the SPY, right? Let's get a hold above that 432, right? That would be the key. If we can get a hold above this 432, that would be the key today. It might be down to the 431, right? It might be down to the 431. So maybe we do have that in there as well. Anywhere between 431 and 432, I think is possibly that area that you want to see hold today, right? All within here. So let me turn this green real quick. If we can maintain, right? So if we go out to the 4-hour chart and we look at this chart here on the 4-hour on the SPY, you guys can see we had some previous reactions around this 432, right? 432 here, 432 holds right here. We had some 432 action in here, right? So, and then some clear 432 rejections right here, right? So, if we can get a clear hold above that level today, right? If we can turn this into support, if we can turn this rejection into support, and if we can start to maintain above, then I love that upside continuation. And really, right, if you didn't have this 50 SMA here around 434, really the next supply is not until 438, right? Look at this. This is really just a channel here. So this is a good break above these previous channel lows. And if you're holding above a channel low, then the tendency is potentially to move to the channel high, right? So 432, 431, if you can hold this area today, if you can get a nice hold above this green zone today, and you can start to hold this channel low, right? And you know, obviously I'd say watch out for the 50. It's definitely an important level, but really you would be entering into a channel up to around 438. This little double top high on the SPY. So nice little move there, right? Nice little move there. Yeah. Let's watch 432, 431. Let's see if the SPY can maintain above previous day highs and that 432 level, right? That is really the area that you want to see hold for that long, at least above yesterday's highs, right? Now the game plan, I like this move because now the game plan is very easy. You are not shorting this market if it is above yesterday's highs, right? Easy as that. That's how you save yourself today from being wrong on the short side, right? You're above yesterday's highs in the SPY. Absolutely no reason to short if you are above yesterday's highs. Makes it quite easy to read now, right? Yesterday's highs on the ES at the 200 SMA, right? We're not going to short into the 200 into 4340, right? That's obvious now. So this move is good for us. It sort of gives us that game plan, right, that we can sort of set up intraday and say, okay, where could I short? Where could I long, right? Make sure I'm cautious of it. So if you get that pullback in the previous day high, then we look for that long. That's the long of the day, right? Pull back to that 200, pull back to that 4340, break and retest of that level. That could be really nice today. Hopefully we get something like that. And then Nasdaq, 15,030. And last but not least, the QQQ. I got to move on because we're looking at the futures way too long. But I think it's important, man, because we really got to build this game plan today. QQQ. Yeah, this could be nice. All right, so right here, guys, this is the key here. 364, 50 SMA, right? 364, 50 SMA. Right there, and previous highs. That's perfect. So let's move this down a little bit. Right there, 363.70. So if you pull back here, right, and you hold this previous high and hold near this 50 here, that's your potential long watch, right, on the QQQ. You got the previous high, right? You got the 50 SMA. If you get that pullback, you need it to hold above that previous high for that long entry, right? So previous high a day, I think, is a big watch today now, right, after this push in the pre-market. All right, hopefully that makes some sense, guys. Sorry if it was a little bit long, but I think it was an important analysis there. Wow, Tesla right into the 222. This is a huge level today. Holy shit. Yeah, this could be big, right? This could be really big. Yeah, 222, guys, on Tesla. If this gets over 222, there is not a lot here, right? Look at this. There is not a lot here above 222 on Tesla. So that is definitely a watch today. That is 100% a watch on Tesla. 222, 222, and it's sort of right at it. Above 222, you guys can sort of get the idea of what I'm looking at here, right? Look at this, just straight down. So, hey, that's interesting, right? That's a little bit interesting above 222. Next level here is right here. What is this? 230.60. And then there's a gap, right? So 222 up to 230.60, which is also the 20 SMA. And then there's a huge gap here on Tesla right there between 230 and 240, right? Interesting. A little bit interesting there. So, here's what I'd be watching today. I'd be watching the 222 level, right? Don't get sucked into it. That's the worst thing you can do, right? If it rejects, it could reject. So be cautious of that, right? It could definitely still reject. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. We don't want to do that, right? The worst way to lose is to get ahead of ourselves on Tesla. That's the worst way to lose, right? Yeah, I mean, look at the volume profile. I mean, look at this. So if we can get a solid hold over 222 on Tesla, we're moving into 230. If you get above 230, you're going gap fill, right? And that's if the market stays strong, of course. So let's see, right? Now, let's all take a step back. Let me take a step back myself. Let me, I'm not going to say what I'm about to say. We have to watch this level still, right? We still do have to watch this level. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. We got 222 there on Tesla, and could it still reject? Absolutely, right? Could this be the move that traps some people long? Absolutely, all right? So, yeah, it looks sexy. It got me a little excited, right? But this is still important, right? And I don't want to walk away today on a Friday and say, man, why did you long Tesla before it actually showed you a long over 222? Why were you so quick to take that trade? It pulled back. It rejected that level. You lost money, and you just, you got too excited, right? So, yes, very nice potential idea, right? I do like it a lot with that low volume, but we have to get above that 222, right? That is extremely clear. That is extremely clear. So let's look for that 222 break and retest today. If we can get that, right? If we can get that, right? Then we look for that. We look for that push, right? We look for that push. All right. NVIDIA, 440. Big level also, right? We got some big levels getting tested today. Big levels getting tested today. 440 NVIDIA. We know we've seen this level, right? We've seen this level, 440. So NVIDIA coming into that 440 here, that's going to be major. And then right above 440, you got the 100 and the 50 SMA, right? 150 SMA right above on NVIDIA. That is a little bit confusing to me, right? I'm not going to tell you that I know what's going to happen, right? Typically, right, if these EM or SMAs were not here, I would say, hey, look for a hold above 440 for longs, right? But if you do a hold above 440 for longs on NVIDIA, just be a little bit cautious of some of this SMA action stepping in, all right? Just be a little bit cautious of that, okay? So I would say over 440, NVIDIA should get the juice. Just play it safe, right? Understand, hey, I still got the SMA above. Let me just be a little bit cautious here. That's all I would say. But 440, right? Big level here. Keep an eye on that on NVIDIA. AMD. So AMD, it's all about this 111 in my eyes, right? All about this 111 in my eyes. We still don't have 1,000 likes, do we? Huh. All right. Well, for you guys that don't get the ads, you can listen. So AMD 111, right? That's going to be your big watch today on AMD. You guys can see right here, 111 major rejections, 111 major rejections. If AMD can get above that 111, I don't mind that little squeeze, right? So don't want to look at it like that. Let's watch. This is a disaster, first of all, I will say, right? This is a total disaster of a chart. But this is the one area that I can get an idea of possibly what could happen. It's up at this 111, right? We can see that double top. We can definitely get an idea of what could happen on a break and hold above, right? We can definitely get that idea. Or we can get the idea of maybe a triple top, right? That could be possible as well. Could it be a triple top high on AMD at 111? Absolutely, right? We got to be watching both sides. So AMD 111, that's the key watch here. See what happens at that level. If we get a push into it today, that's what I would be monitoring, okay? 111 on AMD. Google, Meta, Amazon, Microsoft. Google, Meta, Amazon, Microsoft. So Google still not over that 130. Interesting, right? So here we go. Here's Google, And you got your thick boy 100 SMA right there, right? Look at this thing. 100 SMA, 130. This is also that previous low. So what does Google have to do today? Google needs a break above that 130 and a continuation above, right? A nice hold above it for that upside. That's what Google needs. If Google can do that, you're moving into 132, right? If Google can break above the 100 SMA, hold above yesterday's highs, get a nice little break and retest of 130, you're going to 132. That's a long entry that I would look for all day today. Now, on the flip side, if Google pushes into 130 and rejects, that is a double top rejection at the 100 SMA, and that's a double top rejection at previous lows, and that will likely, potentially, create a little bit of a downside scalp, right? And if you have a downside scalp, then you maybe look for that move towards that 128 demand. So it's all about 130 on Google today. I think a very easy level to remember, 130. You got 100 SMA, right? Look how many things you got there. You got previous lows, yesterday's highs, and 100 SMA. Without a doubt, it'll be an area of interest to trade off of today. Meta, Amazon, Microsoft. Meta, nice little 310 retest here on Meta, right? Look at this. Previous high. We talked about this one. Previous high. Meta. Break. Retest yesterday. Nice hold above 310. And it looks like you're starting to squeeze a little bit. So if Meta maintains above 310 today, you could look for that long entry. But you have to be long near 310, right? Because if you're not long down here, you're risking a rejection at 320. Which even with the market action yesterday, look how nasty that Meta rejection was at 320 yesterday morning, right? Meta tried the push and just got nailed, right, quickly after open. So we know that should give you that insight that says, hey, maybe I should be just a little bit careful holding longs into this high, right? Maybe that's not my best idea. So if you are interested in longing Meta in this little trend, right, where were the best longs in this trend, right? They're not at the trend highs. They're at the trend lows. So if you longed it off that 300 retest, off the 310 retest, look at this. Very clean. Trend, stair-stepping, right? Break above, hold of 300, long here. Break above, pull back to 310, channel low, stair, right? That demand low, long off 310, possibly for that next move. Then you do it again, right? And you keep stair-stepping higher. That's possible. Right, that's very possible. But the comfortable longs, while you may feel you're comfortable on the upside longs, right, really the longs that have been the correct longs are after the pullbacks, right? So the real long here on Meta over the last few weeks was the 300 hold after a pullback, right? And maybe the next long here is the 310 long after a pullback, right? The inverse of what everyone else's minds are thinking. Right? Take advantage of those who panic out of positions, take the calls from the people that are panic selling out of them into demand, right? That's really the concept here, right? You're, instead of longing into supply, you're taking the longs back at the demand where everyone's sort of uninterested. It goes back up, you make a shitload of money because you longed off 300, it pulls back, everyone's panicking out, you longed off 310, and then maybe you get that next move. Doesn't mean it's 100% accurate, but that's where you're going to get your best risk reward at all times. Amazon. 140, man. Ooh. Is this going to break 140 today? That could be interesting. 140. Yeah. 140. That's easy watch. I don't got much to say. Just watch 140. If we go to the 1 hour chart, I think you'll probably see this a little bit better. Let me get over. Yeah, so right here, guys, right? Let me zoom into this little area here. So you can see this was a little head and shoulder formation by that 140, right? And you can see we had rejections, we had support, and we had support, which ultimately failed, retested, and rejected at 140, right? So now, what are you doing, right? You're coming back into it. You're coming back into that 140. So what are we looking for today? Break and hold above. If I can get this to really look, I can get the scale correct here instead of messing up this chart. 140, right? That's what we're looking for today. Does Amazon reject or does it hold above 140? That's what I would be watching. All right, let's go Microsoft and then Apple. Microsoft 350. You guys know we've been talking about that. However, a couple wicks to be careful of here, especially this recent wick high. So let's zoom in on this. Let me go 30-minute chart. Okay, so wick high here on Microsoft is 352. So that's really the watch, right? This 352 wick high, that's where I would be paying attention to. Can Microsoft maintain? The demand looks to step in around this 346 previous high right there, right? And so 352 is that wick high right here on Microsoft. So if you're going to look to long Microsoft today, you need to see that break and hold above that wick high. 352 is your level on Microsoft today. Apple, yeah. So Apple, pull back, hold of that 170. Remember that 171 level we were looking at? Look at that hold, right? Look at that hold. That's a hold of the 200 SMA post earnings. That's very interesting. That's a big demand hold for Apple right there. Look, lows, highs, highs, highs. You guys should absolutely remember this level. The 200 SMA 171, we pulled back post earnings. Look at what we're doing. We're holding it. That's very important, right? Good hold of that 171 and that 200 SMA. Is this that? Remember we talked about this trade? I'm sure you guys possibly do, right? Is this that weekly bull flag starting? Is it that 200 SMA long, right? Is that what we're looking for here? Is this going to be that spot in a year from now where we say, hey, look what Apple did off the 200 SMA. Look at that potential long opportunity on Apple at the 200 SMA. How many times, right, can we probably say, hey, I got a long off the 200 SMA on Apple? Interesting, right? How much would we wager that in a year from now we're going to be on this live stream and we're going to come back to this moment in time, right? Whatever happens here, I don't know what's going to happen, but what do you think the chances are that we say, hey, 200 SMA hold on Apple? That was pretty nice, huh? Possibly, right? So interesting spot on Apple, right? Flag, slow pullback into the 200. Is that a long at some point here? I'm not going to give you that yes or no answer, but it's a very interesting watch. I'd say that. Would I be buying Apple shares? Absolutely. Am I buying Apple shares? Absolutely. So that's all I got for you guys. Interesting stuff. Interesting day yesterday. Very key levels on the market. Let's go back to that real quick. Okay, so what level did we talk about? Does anyone remember? What level did we talk about on the Nasdaq, right? 15,030. What just happened at 15,030? Really, really sexy wick right there. Right at 15,030. ES sort of just maintaining itself. SPY, little pullback to 432. Pretty close, right? QQQ still above that 364 and that 50 SMA. It's going to be an interesting one, man. It's going to be an interesting one. We'll see what happens. But what I would look for today, what I would just be a little bit cautious of now, is of course that 4370 on the ES. And then be cautious of that 15,100 at that 50 SMA on the Nasdaq. 15,100, 15,140, okay? That's what I'd be watching here today. And I'm actually going to turn this green because that is what it should be, right? Because look at that little hold that just came in on the 5-minute at 15,030 on the Nasdaq futures right there. All right, guys, I hope you have a fantastic trading day. Be safe out there. Watch these levels. Do your best to trade off your key levels, whatever level you have on your chart. If you trade a level that you have on your chart and it doesn't work out, it's not a bad trade, right? If you trade based off a level you want to look for and you're incorrect, go back, see what happened, understand why it was wrong, and that is part of the, that part, right? That first part of taking your trade off your level, being incorrect, right? That'll never be something that's wrong, right? That will never be a bad thing that you do. The bad thing that you do is the risk management part, right? There's two parts to that trade. It's the, hey, I like this level, I want to trade it, right? That's part one. Part two is, if I'm wrong, do I accept it? Do I take my loss, or do I blow up my account? That's the other part. That's what people struggle with, right? You taking shots at the trades that you like, there's nothing wrong with that. You have to do that, right? If you want to learn to trade, you have to take your shots. Shooters got to shoot, right? You're not going to learn trading by sitting here in paralysis and not taking trades. You got to take your shots. But when you take your shots, are you accepting that you could be wrong? And are you taking that loss if you're incorrect? Or is every shot that you take, does it have to be right? And if it's not right, you're blowing up your account. That's the question. That's the important part. Do I still have my cost put? No, I took my loss. I have nothing in my portfolio. Losses yesterday, closed them all out. All right, I hope that resonates with some of you. Don't be scared to take trades. Don't be scared to take your shots, but make sure you understand your risk and make sure you keep it in check. That's the important part. I hope you guys enjoyed the live stream. Press that like button, subscribe to the channel. Have a fantastic weekend, right? Have a fantastic weekend, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Not tomorrow, Monday. Peace.